Hare Krishna. Bra, we are. Venadari Prabhu. Yeah, we are. Bra. One below that. One below that. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we'll sing this particular verse. Lokavandhu Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I thank all of you for coming. I wish you a very happy Diwali. And may the lamp of Krishna and his devotional service be forever brightly burning in the core of your hearts, dissipating the darkness of this material existence and the suffering that it entails. Hare Krishna. So, Anu Shri, please read the translation. You can take Hare Krishna. You can take the mic. It's right there. Maybe two each. Yeah, we can go two each. And then Prabhuji can do. You can do two, and then Prabhuji can do two, like that. You can do two translations, and then.
I offer my respectful obeisances to that foremost of thieves, who is famous in Vraja as the butter thief, and who steals the gopis' clothes, and who, for those who take shelter of him, steal the sins which have accrued over many lifetimes. I offer my respectful obeisances to the foremost of thieves, who steals Srimati Radhika's heart, who steals the dark luster of a fresh rain cloud, and who steals all sins and sufferings of those who take shelter of his feet.
Thank you. Avanish, and then Prabhuji can go. 3 and 4, translation 3 and translation 4.
He turns his surrendered devotees into paupers and wandering, homeless beggar, alas. Such a fearsome thief has never been seen or heard of in all the three worlds. Mere utterance of his name purges one of a mountain of sins. Such an astonishingly wonderful thief I have never seen or heard of anywhere.
O thief, having stolen my wealth, my honor, my senses, my life, and my everything, where can you run to? I have caught you with the rope of my devotion. You cut the terrible noose of Yamaraj. You sever the dreadful noose of material existence, and you slash everyone's material bondage. But you are unable to cut the knot fastened by your own loving devotees.
O stealer of my everything, O thief, today I have imprisoned you in the miserable prison house of my heart, which is very fearful due to the terrible darkness of my ignorance, and there for a very long time you'll remain, receiving appropriate punishment for your crimes of thievery. O Krishna, thief of my everything, the noose of my devotion remaining forever tight, you will continue to reside in the prison house of my heart, because I'll not release you for millions of aeons.
Thank you. So, this is the month of Damodar, where we know the famous pastime of how Krishna, by crawling with a mortar tied behind him, he brought down those two tall Yamalarjuna trees, and they came down with a crashing sound. And the sons of Manigriva, the sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Alakuvera, they came out of that trees, and they were brilliantly effulgent as the demigods they should be. And they circumambulated the Lord. They offered their prayers to Krishna, and they left. Now, if somebody has helped you to come out from a very terrible situation, and if that person himself is in a dire bit of trouble, then the least you can do is help him out too, correct? Now, what was Krishna's position when this all happened? He was tied. So Nalakuvera and Manigreva, couldn't they at least do the, and he was an infant, imagine an infant being tied like that. Your heart will melt, and anybody's heart will melt. And they would say, okay, we will help you also by, untying the rope around your stomach that Mother Yashoda has tied. But Srila Rupa Goswami writes that they couldn't do so any time because they didn't have that power of devotion to Krishna. Mother Yashoda's devotion to Krishna was in the Vatsalya Varas was so strong that she bound Krishna by her rope of love, and nobody had that capacity to undo it. So they didn't even attempt to do anything about it. They said, we offer and we'll go. To actually help Krishna in that situation that was not help at all. And it would have been pretty offensive to Krishna because Mother Yashoda's love has been binding Krishna. So this particular verse is in line with that, the song. So we'll sing, we'll start. I promise you, we'll try to get through our syllabus. Vraje prasidham navanita choram gopangananam chadukula choram Vraje prasidham navanita choram Gopangananam chadukula choram Aneka janmajita papa choram Chauragraganyam purusham namami Aneka janmarjita papa choram Chauragraganyam purusham namami Shri Radhikaya hridayasya choram Navambuddha shamala kanti choram Padashritanam cha samasta choram Chauragraganyam purusham namami Akinchani kritya padashritam ya Karoti bhikshum pati gehahinam Kenapyaho bhishana chorayidrik Drishtashrito vana jagatrayepi Yadiyanamapi haratya sesham Giri prasaranapi paparashin Ascharya rupo nanu chorayidrik Drishtashrito vanamaya kadapi धनं च मानं च ततेन्द्रियाणि प्राणांश्च हित्वा मम सर्व एव पलायसे कुत्र धृतोऽद्यचोरा त्वं भक्तिनाम्नासि मया निरुद्धा चिन्नत्सि घोरं यमपाशबन्धं भिन्नत्सि भीमं भवपाशबन्धम् चिन्नत्सि सर्वस्य समस्तबन्धं नैवात्मनो भक्तकृतं तु बन्धम् मन्मानसे तामसराशिघोरे कारागृहे दुःखमये निबद्धा लभस्व हे चौरहरे चिराय स्वचौर्यदोषोचितम् एव दण्डम् व्रजे प्रसीदं नवनीतचोरं गोपङ्गनानां च दुकुलचोरम् अनेकजन्मार्जितपापचोरं चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि The last verse we'll sing all together, just like the last verse. If we can go, we'll all sing together. कारागृहे वस सदा हृदये मदीये मद्भक्तिपाशदृढबन्धननिश्चलसन् त्वां कृष्ण हे प्रलयकोटिशतान्तरेऽपि सर्वस्वचौरा हृदयन्नमोचयामि. Haribol. You have to come sit on the carpet, please. This is the etiquette in the temple that nobody sits on the floor. Please. Or we can get a mat. Ananda Kishore Prabhu, thank you. That's amazing service. So, today we'll be doing the Ishopanishad, the main topic of why we are here. So, we'll start off with our Mangalacharan prayers and then we can get started. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितां त्वं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभयश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मत्समो नास्ति पापात्मा न पराधी च कश्चन परिहारेऽपि लज्जा मे किं ब्रुवे पुरुषोत्तम भूमौ स्खलितपादानां भूमिरेवावलम्बनं त्वयि जातापराधानां त्वामेव शरणं प्रभो गोविन्दवल्लभे राधे प्रार्थये त्वमहं सदा त्वदीयम् इति जानातु गोविन्दो मां त्वया सह राधा राधितराधेश राधिका प्राणवल्लभा राधा रमण वन्दे त्वं राधिका प्रेम निर्जिता। So this is the 5th batch of Bhakti Shastri. And there is a whole team that is in place to help us accomplish this. There is quite few tasks that need to be done to kind of get this going. And we are, I can say, barely managing kind of situation. I would like to first of all thank His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu for giving me the order to start the Bhakti Shastri 10 years ago, and ever since been so supportive about having this program at ISV where devotees systematically read Srila Prabhupada's books. I would also like to thank Shamalangi Mataji for being the admin of the group, helping with so many aspects in terms of the administrative work. Then also Sudeep, who kind of helps with the homework, or I think he's going to jump back again, hopefully. Then I would like to thank Venadari Prabhu and Krishangi Mataji for being the mic system, because a lot of devotees are outside and they really have to have this opportunity. So Venadari Prabhu, if you can come out for a minute, please. Huh? Krishangi Mataji is there, right here? Okay, Mate, come out, please. And few other devotees who help grade the exams and who wish to remain anonymous. And also, last but not least, my wife, who keeps me fed so that I can come for the Bhakti Shastri classes. So it's a great opportunity that we come and read Srila Prabhupada's books, and especially the fact that when we read in an environment like this, it actually truly helps to get those teachings deep, and we realize that it's a tremendous benefit that we have this knowledge, and that knowledge that nobody can take ever away from us, and that we don't need to struggle again and again in every lifetime to acquire this knowledge, because this is ours forever, unless Krishna decides otherwise. Sarvasya chaham pradhi sannivishto Mattah Smritirjnanam Apohanam cha Vedaischa Sarvair Ahmaya Vedyo Vedanta Kritveda Videva Chaham. He says that from me comes knowledge and remembrance. But know for fact, if we are always favorable to Krishna, there is no need for him to take away that remembrance. In fact, it will be counterproductive when he says, always think of me and remember me. And when he chooses to take away that remembrance. So today we have 5 verses that we are planning to cover from Ishopanishad. The first verse, I think all the kids know here. So, you can, anyway, it's fine. So kindly repeat after me. Ishavasyamidam sarvam yatkinchad jagatyam jagat tena taktena bhunjita Magrida kasya svidhanam. So, please, translation. And then you can go like that. And then we can do that. And one mic here, because we can do the paragraphs. Yeah, go ahead.
Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong.
So, the very first verse in Ishopanishad has 3 clear demarcations. The first demarcation is everything that is what? Okay, and is owned by? So there is the Lord, there is something which is inanimate, and then there is something animate. Yes or yes? Which means in the very outset, Ishopanishad is saying that Krishna owns everything. Or there is some owner or some controller that controls everything. It's a very clear distinction. Though Upanishads lead one to the path of Brahman or Brahman realization, that never means they lead to the conclusion that I am that God or I am that Parabrahman. Because it's so clear here. If I own everything, then where is the question of taking, and the next step he says, quota, right? You have to, so where is the question of quota? If I own everything, which means who is the one that is, why talk of my quota? Because I own everything. It's just like, a father goes into the house, the house that he owns, and somebody comes and says, hey, this is only your room. That's it. He'll say, this whole house is mine. Why is this my room? So similarly, if I am that God who is the owner and controller of this material existence, then there is no question of quota. But the fact that it's talking is, at the very outset, it is talking the distinction between God, Jivas, Prakriti, and also the quota. So, Pavani Bhakti Machiji, you can do the first paragraph, please.
Vedic knowledge is infallible because it comes down through the perfect disciplic succession of spiritual masters, beginning with the Lord himself. Since he spoke the first word of Vedic knowledge, the source of this knowledge is transcendental. The words are spoken by the Lord are called Apauruseya, which indicates that they are not delivered by any mundane person. A living being who lives in the mundane world has 4 defects. He is certain to commit mistakes, he is subject to illusion, he has a propensity to cheat, and his senses are imperfect. No one with these 4 imperfections can deliver perfect knowledge. The Vedas are not produced by such an imperfect creature. Vedic knowledge was originally imparted by the Lord into the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma, in his turn, disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples, who have handed it down through history.
So the other thing is, the people might question, how do you know what we know? So earlier we already discussed that, why the Vedas, because they are, what does Apaurushaya means? not told by a human. Purusha means human, and Apaurusheya means which is transcendental. In that context, Purusha is also sometimes used to denote the supreme personality of Godhead. But in Bhagavad Gita, when we do that, at places it's mentioned there are two types of Purushas. That is the Jiva Purusha and the Paramatma Purusha. But in general, Apaurusheya means something which is beyond material world. Good. So now, what are the 4 defects of conditioned soul? Yeah. Please remember, you never know. So, all right. So the second paragraph, please, Sirishamati.
Since the Lord is Purnam, all perfect, there is no possibility of his being subjected to the laws of material nature, which he controls.
Sorry, here I have a quota, which means the Lord also has a quota. Because I have quota, no, it doesn't work that way. Because he owns and controls, and in that sense. But please understand, when he comes, he acts in such a way that he is very, very respectful. It's not like when he comes, he acts, oh, this is mine. No, he's very, very respectful. And he makes sure that if it belongs to you, he'll never, ever take it away from you unless it is time. He is perfect in that sense. He has allotted that quota and he'll keep that quota for you till time comes. But go ahead.
However, both the living entities and inanimate objects are controlled by the laws of nature and ultimately by the Lord's potency. This Ishopanishad is the part of Yajurveda, and consequently it contains information concerning the proprietorship of all things existing within the universe. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. All right. We can go like this. Equal opportunity readers.
Okay. So the Lord's proprietorship over everything within the universe is confirmed in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 7.45, where Para and Apara Prakriti are described. The elements of nature, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego all belong to the Lord's inferior material energy, Apara Prakriti, whereas the living being, the organic energy, is his superior energy, Para Prakriti.
No, go ahead.
Both of these Prakritis or energies are emanations from the Lord, and ultimately he is the controller of everything that exists. There is nothing in the universe that does not belong to either the Para or the Apara Prakriti. Therefore, everything is the property of the Supreme Being.
So another thing we learn from this verse of Ishopanishad is that we are just like the visitors to a hotel where we are going to stay temporarily. Yes or yes? You book a room, you go there, and then the person there will say, okay, this is your room. You can fight and all that, saying this room is blah, but ideally, by and large, the principle is that you get your quota or your room for that. Though there may be a 1,000-room hotel, you will still get your quota or whatever you paid for. And then the higher you pay, the better suite you get, or the lower you pay, the lower you get. But eventually, that belongs to the owner of the maintainer or the property. So similarly, Krishna is the controller of everything, and he gives allotted quota, and when time comes, he'll take it away. And that is the nature here. Another thing, I don't think is anybody that has not seen a movie now or later. In devotees, don't hesitate, don't have to raise the hand, nobody can raise the hand. But the idea there is, imagine you going to a movie hall, right, and you watch a movie. Just think about it. Did you actually create that movie? Did you actually create the movie hall? Did you decide what time the movie starts and it ends? Of course, unless you are a very rich person and allow to have that. Then let's all those are. And then you actually go and sit in the movie, and you stay, you say, I like this place so much, I'll stay after the movie also. This is my permanent home. You just go there, participate. you just come back. You are with a clear distinction that this is not yours. So similarly, this material world is something like that. It is, Srila Prabhupada writes and Bhagavatam writes that a person, when he awakes from this dream, he realizes, oh, this was just like an experience that I was witnessing, and I was not a participation. I mean, you realize, right? Imagine kids, you go to the movie and you really hate that villainous character. That character is really a villainous person, and you want to see him dead. That doesn't mean you go to the screen and punch the screen, right? When that character in the screen, you do that? No, right? So that's pretty much to the extent of what this material existence is. And it's unfortunate that people come here and fight and have such a deep misconception that somehow this is my existence. I live only once, and then I have to really fight for scrap everything that I can accumulate, which things anyway you kind of leave at the time of death. It's a very sad state of affairs. So it behooves us that those who are sitting in the Bhakti Shastri class to actually understand this knowledge and impart it to others, so that illusion is lost. Imagine, in the same context, the kids, they are intelligent enough not to punch the villain, but there is somebody in the audience who actually likes the villain for some reason or other. Now, why? Let's not get started there. As he or she likes the villain. You go to punch up that villain, that person comes and punches you, saying, hey, how dare you hit my villain? You neither have anything to do with that villain who is just a mere imagination of the screen. So the whole fights of this material existence are just over things that you think belongs to me, and somebody else says belongs to me, and then we fight about it. And in the end, we both leave it and just move along in life. In fact, it is, if you want to read more on this, read the 12th canto. There is a particular section in Bhagavatam, has many Gitas or verses, but this is called Bhumi Gita. Bhumi Gita is Mother Earth. She says, she laughs. She says, since time immemorial, many, many kings have come, and they thought this land is mine and this land is mine. And they both fought to death over it, and they are consigned to the bins of history, and I still remain. And another thing, kids, those who have siblings especially, seriously, you have a toy at home, and more often not, the parents will have this experience, what one child wants, the other child exactly wants the same thing, even though that child may have a million other toys lying in the back. It is new, it is fresh, it is somehow has to be desired. But the kids fight over it, not realizing that the toy actually belongs to is bought by the parent. So all these things come to the drive home to the point that let's not spend our time, energy, and our consciousness so much in this material nature, which anyway we are kind of going to give and pass along. That doesn't mean you neglect it either. Right, kids? Oh, this is a material body. I don't have to go to school from tomorrow. What's the point anyways? Don't ever dare try that argument with your moms. I'll tell you why. Your moms will say, yeah, it's just a material body. I don't have to cook. Oh, so watch out. So watch out. But and Ishopanishad actually points later. It says that there is a particular, as you kids know, there is also the cultivation of knowledge and the niche science at the same time. So we'll come to that point a little bit later. And in fact, even in the first 5 verses, it's very practical. Srila Prabhupada's purports are really practical. If we spend like this, we'll just get done with one verse. So Bhakti Shastri classes are like that. Bhakti Riksha classes are open-ended kind of situations. Let's see, what else do we need to... Oh, another interesting thing. Let's go to paragraph in the modern society. And then if you come down... Okay, actually, you know what? Prabhuji, please read. Please read this paragraph. Oh, this row. So it goes second row. Equal opportunity readers.
In In modern society, there is always a great quarrel between the laborers and the capitalists. This quarrel has taken an international shape, and the world is in danger. Men face one another in enmity and snarl just like cats and dogs. Sri Upanishad cannot give advice to the cats and dogs, but it can deliver the message of Godhead to man through the bona fide acharyas, holy teachers. The human race should take the Vedic wisdom of Sri Upanishad and not quarrel over material possessions. One must be satisfied with whatever privileges are given to him by the mercy of the Lord. There can be no peace of the communists or capitalists or any other party who claims proprietorship over the resources of nature, which are eternally the property of the Lord. The capitalists cannot curb the communists simply by political maneuvering, nor can the communists defeat the capitalists simply by fighting for stolen bread. If they cannot recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the property they claim to be their own is stolen. Consequently, they will be liable to punishment by the laws of nature. Nuclear bombs are in the hands of both communists and capitalists, and if both do not recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Lord, it is certain that these bombs will ultimately ruin both parties. Thus, in order to save themselves and bring peace to the world, both parties must follow the instructions of Sri Upanishad.
Thank you. Okay, kids, next paragraph. Who didn't get a chance to read? And then everybody will get, of course. So. Who is the elected speaker? Okay. Okay, you read that paragraph.
Human beings are not meant to quarrel like cats and dogs. They must be intelligent enough to realize the importance and aim of human life. The Vedic literature is meant for humanity and not for cats and dogs. Cats and dogs can kill other animals for food without incurring sin. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste buds, he is responsible for breaking the laws of nature. Consequently, he must be punished.
So there is this saying, man is a social animal, right? No, we are not. Man is a social human. Woman is a social human. Because Srila Prabhupada emphasizes in depth. Because think about it, actually at the height of the dissatisfaction of academics in my life, probably 8th, 9th, 10th grade, around that time. You know, we used to bike to school, and one day I woke up late, and you know, my mother had to really motivate me strongly, to putting it mildly, to go to school. And then as I was biking, I saw this dog was lying on the road. It was relaxing in life. No cares, no worry. I was thinking, the dogs don't have to give exams, and that day was exam day. Tests, quarterly, half yearly, some tests, some myriad of tests that you have to take in a year. I was like thinking, this dog's life is so great. It doesn't have to go anywhere, it gets some food, it doesn't have to earn a degree, no quarterly tests, no grades. Then after reading Upanishad, I said, thank God, for I'm not a dog. Because their lives, it may seem really nice, but their life is so strongly bound by material existence. And the worst part is they have no hope of at least getting even slightest trace of this knowledge that leads us out of this material existence. Temporarily it may seem great, but in the long run, their lives are miserable. Because the fear that consumes animals is astounding. Think about it. The squirrel, the girls, you know that squirrel or like a rabbit or some other cutie animal, you go to touch it and then it'll think, oh my God, this lady has come to kill me, and so they'll run away. Right? So the fear is so strong, deeply rooted. And the animals, they can eat anything. They don't have, marriage and divorces among animal communities. They really don't have to offer food before they can eat it. So, and things like that are mainly for human beings. Because we are humans, we get a better understanding and we get a better facilities so that our life is more a life of awareness to know why I have been given this position and how to get out of it. Right? And then Mataji, Purnima Mataji, the last paragraph, and we'll complete off the first verse. The last paragraph. The root of sin. Venudari Prabhu, the root of sin. Last paragraph.
The root of sin is deliberate disobedience of the laws of nature through disregarding the proprietorship of the Lord. Disobeying the laws of nature or the order of Lord brings ruin to human being. Conversely, one who is sober, who thinks the laws of nature and who is not influenced by unnecessary attachment or aversion is sure to be recognized by the Lord and thus become eligible to go back to Godhead, back to eternal home.
Thank you. So that is the biggest gain of the human life. Labdhva sudurlabham idam bahu sambhavante. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Labdhva sudurlabham. It's very rare to achieve a human form of life. Labdhva sudurlabham idam bahu sambhavante. It's very, very rare. So in that sense, technically every one of us hit his jackpot, because we can use this opportunity to cultivate. We might not, sometimes spiritual life becomes, oh my God, there are so many rules, so many regulations. What if I don't get successful? That's another problem with modern existence. Either you are a total success or you are a total failure, total loser. I didn't mean to use that, kids. Don't use it against anybody, because nobody is, including you. So, but spiritual life is not like that. In fact, Krishna is saying, just do a little. He's encouraging in so many ways in Bhagavad Gita. He's saying, just do a little, that will protect you from lot of anxiety and fears. Do a little, and in the next life, even if you fail, you will, in the Dhyana Yoga it's mentioned. In Dhyana Yoga, which is the yoga where it's a, till 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it's a DIY, do it yourself project. Seriously. Second, you kind of control your senses. And third, do your activities, offer it to Lord Vishnu. Fourth, get knowledge, approach a spiritual master. Sixth, Dhyan Yoga, you go to the forest and you achieve perfection. It is all your own effort. Control your mind, control your senses, become a strict celibate. And Arjuna says, this is too much. The point is, till 6th chapter, it is like do-it-yourself kind of projects that are happening in Bhagavad Gita. Of course, Krishna is always inspiring, but this is mainly like, I have exerted. And then the result of Dhyana Yoga is you get mystic perfections. The perfection of dhyana is like you get mystic perfections, like really strong perfections. But even then, Krishna is so merciful. He says, even if it's a do-it-yourself project, and even if you fail, you will still be born in a very, very wealthy household or in a very transcendental household. So having to do this Krishna consciousness or yoga system, even for a little bit, it's really, really best thing to do. Even if you think that the failure or success is not going to come or not come, it really doesn't matter, because you are successful. You are victorious just by starting devotional service. And just to see the end of it, and I'm not making this up, Srila Prabhupada actually writes in one of the purports. And if you are actually successful in spiritual life, just think about the happiness. Is that in the first verse? No. Okay. The nice purports, actually, I wish we had time to go through deeply. But okay, text, mantra 2. Yes, Prabhuji.
How is our quota determined? Is it a result of our karmas, or is it some past event? How does the Lord determine the quota that is mentioned? Is it because our karma, or the reaction of the past deeds that we do? Because I've read Prabhupada says that you can work hard you can work very hard, but you will get what is predestined. So what does that mean?
Bhagavad Gita 4:22, please. Venudari Prabhu. Kindly repeat after me. Yadrichalabha santushto dvandvatito vimatsaraha samasiddhava siddhau cha Kritvapi na nibadyate. Kids, Avanish, did you get a chance to? Okay. You can do the translation, please. There should be two mics, Nespa. All right, use one. You can keep on here and there.
He who is satisfied with gain which comes from its own accord, who is free from all duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions.
So Krishna is saying that your quota will come of its own accord. You keep doing your duties and you will get it. Good will come, bad will come. It's something that is, then the question comes is, especially the kids, they'll jump on this. I'll just study 1 hour a day. Whatever grade comes, yadrichaya lava santushto. So you have to put in the effort corresponding to what is needed. Don't be fixated on the results and do the best you can to improve yourself and to really cover the material and with a thorough understanding. And that can lead you to, of course, you need to do whatever preps you need to do. But the idea there is that when you are fixated on the result, then it will cause a lot of anxiety. But never give up on the effort to kind of do better with what you have. And for those who are adults, we do the best we can. It's not we shouldn't compete. It's not like, one of the big questions comes up in this context is, in the office, shouldn't I not aspire for, promotions and, going higher up in the ladder or in the business, can't I increase my business year over year, whatever, and so on and so forth. The idea there is please do it, but never think that your efforts are what are getting the results. When you tie those two things together, then you are causing yourself into deep, deep anxiety. The results will always come from Krishna, but I'll never slacken my efforts. So if you have that attitude, so on that basis, you can try for increasing your business, clientele, promotions, whatever. It's fine. You can, and then the second part of it is how seriously or how deeply is it affecting your sadhana. If I have to take a certain decision and because of which I will get a lot more money, but at the same time, I may have barely time to chant 2 rounds instead of my 16 rounds, then you seriously need to question, is it worth it to take that kind of anxiety? Because there is a dual path for human existence, which is constantly remembering Krishna and then doing your work. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha mayarpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasya samshaya. He says in the 8th chapter, always think of me and then fight. Arey Baba, two things at the same time. So in that sense, the balance comes. Do I really need this? My prosecution of Krishna consciousness is the foremost thing. Everything else, here or there little adjustment, it's fine. And Krishna will take care. Because we are surrendering to Krishna, that yadrichaya labha can become really big or small according to his mercy. Like Sudama, when he went to Krishna, he was actually poverty stricken. He barely had anything to eat. His wife goaded him, you should go. You should go and see your childhood friend who's in Dwarka, who's a king right now. And, you are barely able to maintain one family. He is able to maintain 16,108 families simultaneously. Not like that, I'm making that up. But nevertheless, she was on that impression that Krishna is your friend, he's very rich, we barely have anything to eat. And she was actually not greedy. Sudama was so emaciated because they barely had anything to eat. She was looking at her husband's condition, and the wife's greatest anxiety or misery is if she's not able to provide to her family members. So she said, you should go. And then, as you know the story, when Sudama went, he basically, what did he take? I think he took a couple of Mercedes Benz, right, as a gift for Krishna. He took chipped rice, high quality chipped rice. Low quality. It's like he had to go and beg from her neighbors So to get some chipped rice, they didn't have it at home. And then usually when you go and ask someone for something, they might not give you the best thing, right? They'll give you whatever, okay, take it, kind of thing. Kids also, oh, this book I don't like. Oh, you can take it. How is it a gift, kind of things. With all due respect, I make up jokes, a lot of jokes. So don't take it personally. Or I'll stop making jokes. Your choice. What do you want? Thank you. And he went. And then the best part is that he was so hesitant to offer that chipped rice, which was really, and then he saw the opulence of Krishna, the goddess of fortune, personally fanning the Supreme Lord. And he saw Dwarka's palaces made of finest marble and studded with gold and gems, and the maids were dressed like goddesses of fortune themselves, leave alone goddess of fortune herself, Rukmini. And then the pillows were like soft and then made of finest white silks, and then it was grandeur all everywhere. And in that atmosphere, really, if you want to take out your chipped rice and say, look, I got something for you, you will be very, very like, Sudama was, no. And then Krishna said, oh, you got something for me. And then, as you know the story, he ate 2 morsels or 2 handful of chipped rice. And then when he went back, what happened? His house also burnt, like California wildfires. Then what happened? In place of his hut was a palace more opulent than Indra's. And then his wife came out bedecked with all jewelry, and he couldn't even recognize, where am I? Did the GPS take me in the wrong direction or something like that? So when you keep Krishna as the foremost in your life, then he might do things that you might not even be aware of, but he is always going to take care of you. One of the things devotees ask me is that, if Krishna is actually taking care of me, then there are a lot of sufferings and there is a lot of negative situations happening in devotees' lives. But how do I know that Krishna is actually kind of protecting me or saving me? I always say, well, do you know the reference or the benchmark on the quota of that was supposed to happen today? I had a pinprick. Oh my God, if Krishna was there, he should not have put thorn on that road. The thorn went and it pricked and it's hurting me. Well, because you're a devotee of Krishna, he just put a thorn. Today, actually, you're destined to have a tire run over your foot. Think about that versus having a thorn. Oh, thank you, Krishna. So the idea there is, we don't know what was destined for you and how Krishna is protecting you. So the Shastras say, just surrender unto Krishna, have that faith in him that he's always his protector, and have faith in his words when he says Sarvadharman Parityaja, that he is definitely your protector. And the beauty is, when Krishna says those words, there is no power that can actually stop Krishna from fulfilling his promise. There is no demigod, there is no graha, there is nothing, no influence, no curse, nothing that can stop Krishna from fulfilling his promise. Right? Sorry, sometimes I go off tangent. All right, second verse. Kurvaneveha karmani jiji vichechatam samaha evam tvai nanyatetosti na karma lipyate nare. Okay. Anybody? It has to be fast. Bhakti Shastri classes. Translation, please.
One may aspire to live for hundreds of years if he continuously goes on working in that way, for that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man.
Thank you. Okay. Who didn't get a chance? Okay. Purnima. First paragraph, please. First paragraph. Oh, you get it. Okay, yeah.
No one wants to die. Everyone wants to live as long as he can drag on. This tendency is visible not only individually but also collectively in the community, society, and nation. There is a hard struggle for life by all kinds of living entities, and the Vedas say that this is quite natural. The living being is eternal by nature, but due to his bondage in material existence, he has to change his body over and over. This process is called transmigration of the soul or karma bandhan, bondage by one's work. The living entity has to work for his livelihood because that is the law of material nature, and if he does not act according to his prescribed duties, he transgresses the law of nature and binds himself more and more to the cycle of birth and death in
Thank
the
you.
many species of life.
Thank you, Mataji. Sorry. Venadari Prabhu, Srimad Bhagavatam 552, please. No, 552. Five 555. Sorry, 554 or 555. Let's try 555. I think it's 555. Thank you. Kindly repeat after me. Parabhavastavadavodhajato yavanna jignasatam yavat kriyastavadamidam manovai कर्मात्मकं येन शरीरबन्धा पराभवस्तावदवोदजातो यावन्न जिज्ञासतमात्मतत्त्वम् यावत् क्रियास्तावदमिदं मनो वै कर्मात्मकं येन शरीरबन्धः. Translation. As long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life, one is defeated and subject to miseries arising from ignorance. Be it sinful or pious, karma has its resultant actions. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, colored with fruitive activity. As long as the mind is impure, consciousness is unclear, and as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a. So the same thing, karma bandha or karma bandhana means, Hare Krishna, welcome. Karma bandha or karma bandhana means that one acts on the material platform. Please give them a place to sit. So karma bandha means to be bound by the reactions. I've been living in this world since time immemorial. I don't even know how many quadrillions of bodies I've taken over my lifetime. Sometimes as a demigod, sometimes as a bird, sometimes as a beast, sometimes as an insect, sometimes as a fish. I have no idea how many births that I have passed. And each of the birth, at least in the human form of life, that I must have performed some karma or activities. And that karma will resultantly force me to take another body again. And Ishopanishad here says, Kurvan eveha karmani jichi vichet satam samaha. Evam tvai nanyate tosti. Thank you. So for the human beings, it is clearly mentioned that if you really want to be free from the cycle of birth and death, then one has to become free from the cycle of karma. Otherwise, if my activity is still, oh, I'll do this, then I get that. That mentality is called fruitive activity. And when you have that activity, then mentality, then you have to take on repeated birth again and again. All right, let's do the next paragraph, please. Who is this? Mataji. Second paragraph. Ishopanishad. Venudari Prabhu. Ishopanishad, he's not there? Okay. Okay, thank you. No, it's okay. So he's doing it. Okay. Yeah, he's there. Second paragraph, Ishopanishad, please. All right. Please go ahead. You have to keep it little closer to your mouth. Oh, it's not on. Oh, sorry, Mataji, about that. Okay.
Other life forms are also subjected to the cycle of birth and death. But when the living entity attains a human life, he gets the chance to get free from the chain of karma. Karma, akarma, and vikarma are very clearly described in Bhagavad Gita. Actions that are performed in terms of one's prescribed duty, as mentioned in the revealed scripture, are called karma. Actions that are free from the cycle of birth and death are called akarma, and the actions that are performed through the misuse of one's freedom and that direct one to the lower life form are called vikarma. Of these three types of action, that which are free one from the bondage of karma is preferred by the intelligent man. Ordinary man wish to perform good work in order to be recognized and achieve some higher status of life in this world or in the heaven, but more advanced man wants to be free altogether from the action and reaction of the work. Intelligent men well know that both good and bad work equally bind one to the material miseries. Consequently, they seek that work which will free them from the reaction of both good and bad work. Such liberating work is described here in the pages of Sri Ishnopishad. Yeah.
All right. So, how many kinds of karma are there? Three. What are those? Okay. What is karma? Okay. Go ahead, Anish.
The result of one's prescribed duties.
Results of one. So everybody has to do some prescribed duties. Yes or yes? Anybody can say, I don't want to do it. You are forced one way or other. If you carefully analyze it, you are forced to work one way or other. So there are prescribed duties according to your nature, according to your situation, according to the body that you get and the place that you live in, and so on and so forth. And that they are called karma, the regular karma. And then akarma is the activities one performs to do what? To free from the cycle of birth and death. So this Ishopanishad reading that is happening, is it vikarma, karma or akarma? Akarma, because we are getting to know who we are, what is karma and how to get out of it. So this is akarmic activities. And vikarma means, it's I think vikarma in the age of Kali is pretty easily known, is easily available. Because in time of Maharaj Parikshit, when he was beating the bull and and then Kali was beating the bull and Maharaj Parikshit challenged him, and Kali said, I surrender unto you, I need some place to live. And what are the 4 places that Maharaj Parikshit said he can live? Where there is intoxication, there is gambling, there is meat eating and illicit sex. And then Kali said, I don't see anything of that happening in your kingdom. I need a 5th place. What was the 5th place? Hoard gold. Gold hoarding. All right. But in vikarma, right now, I think is pretty, right? Everybody knows vikarma. Let's not get in too much into details. Vikarma is activities against the scriptures that cause one to go lower and lower species of life. Even forget lower species of life. Even if you do the vikarmic activities, you can feel the effects. You can really feel the effects. For example, a person might be, too addicted to, say, cigarettes, right? And then you can feel the effects in the later stage of your life. It's really horrible. What happens, it seems, is that, okay, so let's all breathe one breath, deep in and deep out. What happens for those who are like long time smokers, the power to breathe out is destroyed. Okay, do the next thing. Just keep breathing without breathing out. It's extremely painful. Imagine the breath doesn't go into your system and doesn't come out of your system. So that's why they barely can walk few steps without feeling that. They barely can talk without having that effects, and you can see that. So vikarmic activities, why vikarma was devised in such a way was that Krishna is giving indications, don't do it. I'm giving you a sample right now. Right? For example, a person consumes like over alcohol, next day they get up in the morning, start whistling. They have severe hangovers. Don't try this at home, kids. Here, okay. I never tried, I heard. It's severely bad. So the idea there is vikarmic activities have their own immediate reactions, but people think that is okay, that is normal. So, questions, comments? We'll move to the third, because Bhagavad Gita, actually, we are in the Bhakti Shastri, entire books are covered in this. Let's go read the third thing, please. The third paragraph. Sorry. We are okay. If we can't cover 5, it's okay. I don't want to rush. But having said that, we can't take forever. All right. All right. Thank you for coming. Hare Krishna.
The instructions of Sri Esopanishad are more elaborately explained in the Bhagavad Gita, sometimes called the Gita Upanishad, the cream of all Upanishads. In the Bhagavad Gita 3.9.16, the personality of the Godhead says that one cannot attain the state of Naishkarmya or Akarma without executing the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedic literature. This literature can regulate the working energy of a human being in such a way that he can gradually realize the authority of the Supreme Being. When he realizes the authority of the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva or Krishna, it is to be understood that he has attained the stage of positive knowledge. In this purified stage, the modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, cannot act, and he is able to work on the basis of Naishkarmya. Such work does not bind one to the cycle of birth and death.
Thank you. Oh, this is a nice one. Next paragraph, please, because this is really practical. I don't know. Yeah, who's? Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Factually, no one has to do anything more than render devotional service to the Lord. However, in the lower stages of life, one cannot immediately adopt the activities of devotional service, nor can one completely stop fruitive work. A conditioned soul is accustomed to working for sense gratification, for his own selfish interest, immediate or extended. An ordinary man works for his own sense enjoyment, and when this principle of sense enjoyment is extended to include his society, nation, or humanity in general, it assumes various attractive names such as altruism, socialism, communism, nationalism, and humanitarianism. These isms are certainly very attractive forms of karma bandhana, karmic bondage. What the Vedic instruction of Sri Ishopanishad is that if one actually wants to live for any of the above isms, he should make them God-centered. There is no harm in becoming a family man, or an altruist, a socialist, a communist, a nationalist, or a humanitarian, provided that one executes his activities in relation with Isavasya, the God-centered conception.
Thank you. So, Srila Prabhupada, he says that factually one doesn't need to do anything else except render, but in the lower stages, we still have to kind of do all the prescribed duties. And so, let's see. Any other points we have? Okay, in the Bhagavad Gita, the next one I'll just read quickly. The first, in the Bhagavad Gita 240, Lord Krishna states that God-centered activities are so valuable that just a few of them can save a person from the greatest danger. The greatest danger of life is the danger of gliding down again into the evolutionary cycle of birth and death among the 8,400,000 species. If somehow or other a man misses the spiritual opportunity afforded by his human form of life and falls down again into the evolutionary cycle, he must be considered the most fortunate. Okay, thanks. All right. And then the last paragraph. Kids, one of the kids can read. Anushri didn't get a chance.
How can one execute God-centered activities is elaborately explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami. We have rendered this book into English as the Nectar of Devotion. We recommend this valuable book to all who are interested in performing their activities in the spirit of Sri Ushopanishad.
So, in the Bhakti Shastri, we'll cover all these books. We'll cover Bhagavad Gita, first part at least of the Nectar of Devotion. All right. Any second? We are done. Any questions, comments? Yes, one question. Yes, please.
Is the akarma described here the same as akarmini in Bhagavad Gita 2.47? Is the question mark. If so, it is good or bad? Second question mark. From Bhagavad Gita 2.47, it seems neither karma and akarmini are advised? Question mark. Kindly clarify.
So let's pull up the words, the famous words. 247, Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, 247 is the famous Karmanyevadikaraste verse. Let's pull it up. Kindly repeat after me. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbhur ma te sangostva karmani. So here what karmani is one and the same, because here in the prescribed, karmani means in the prescribed duties, but it is just nothing but karma. It's one and the same. That is the first thing. And the second thing is akarmani or akarma means, akarma basically means, in a nutshell, actions that don't have reactions. Akarma means actions that don't have reactions. Karma and vikarma are actions which will have reactions. Vikarma is usually negative, because it's sinful activities. The reactions are more or less, most of the times, negative. But karma means prescribed. You do good, you get good. You do bad, you get bad. Right? Look, Vandaprabhu, you're okay? Hare Krishna. All right. Karma is not all good. Karma is binding. It is good or bad, but it is binding. Yes. Correct. So, no. So, karma is prescribed duties. I'll tell a simple example. Let me think. Nice, good example. Okay. We know the story of King Nriga. Should I tell the story a little bit, or? All right. Once Krishna's sons, they were playing in Dwarka. They were playing in the forest outside the palace hall. And they were playing around and they stumbled upon this old well. That well was like pretty deep. And they peered into the well, and in the bottom, lo behold, there was a beautiful lizard with like shining colors, a big lizard, shining colors. Of course, women have that look as Purnima Mataji has, but boys are fascinated. And they tried to pull that lizard out of the well. They wanted to keep it as a pet. I don't know. It's not mentioned in Bhagavatam. Anyway. So they tried their hard to pull that lizard out of the well. And then the lizard couldn't come out of the well. So they went to their father, Sri Krishna. They said, we find this nice lizard. We just want to kind of have it as a pet or play with it, whatever. We want you. And then Krishna comes. And he puts his left hand, and then the lizard very easily comes out. And then as soon as the lizard comes out, he is transformed into a beautiful demigod-like personality. And then Krishna asks, hey, what happened? Who are you? Why did you get transformed yourself from this ugly lizard to this beautiful demigod-like human being? Who are you? And then he says, my name is King Nriga. In the past, I performed so many charities. It is mentioned that the charity that I performed was as great as the number of stars in the sky or on the sand of ocean. I gave unlimited number of cows and wealth and everything to the Brahmanas. And then what happened, he used to give thousands of cows to the Brahmanas. So he would have a huge cows. I don't want to give a gross example, but if you are driving on I-5, you can see that. But anyway, so there were like hundreds of thousands of cows, and then he would call the Brahmanas, and then he would give them a batch of cows, fully decked, like young cows with calves, and fully decked with gold, and he would give them. So one Brahmana came, he gave probably 1,000 cows, and then the Brahmana took the 1,000 cows. It so happened that one of that 1,000 cows came back again into this herd, back to the place where he was giving cows. Now another Brahmana came and he took the second batch of the cows, whatever is the X number, I don't know the number, and he gave it to the second Brahmana. Now that batch of cows consisted, the cow that was given to the first Brahmana, which somehow came back into this herd again. And then the first Brahmana said, hey, you gave away my cow again to this Brahmana? How dare you? And then King Nriga was caught in a trap. He's like, oh, please forgive me. I didn't mean to do it. It was by accident it happened. You should forgive me. And, instead of that one cow, I'll give you 100,000 cows. But please forgive me and, just let it go. He says, Brahmanas in those days, they were not greedy. If somebody comes and says, sorry, I lost your $1, I'll give you $10. What will you say? Give me, it's a good deal. I'll give you $10 more. You lose this $10 also. Right? But the Brahmanas in those days were not greedy. They said, nope, I just want that cow. I don't care about your 100,000 or whatever cows you're giving. I just want that. And then but the second Brahmana said, hey, you gave me this cow. How can you take it away from me? And then both the Brahmanas left in a huff. And then King Nriga, he was disappointed. And then after his death, he went to Yamaraj. And then Yamaraj said, the amount of charity you have done is astounding. Nobody could have done that much charity as you did. You will have a long life in heavenly planets and you will enjoy it tremendously for the charities that you have done. But because of this mistake, you have to take birth as a lizard. But I'll give you a choice. Whether you want to be lizard first, or whether you want to enjoy that long life of millions of years of royal life and then become a lizard. Self-disciplined people, they'll take the pain first. Like kids, they'll say, I'll read first and then play. Well, it's not okay in all situations. But anyway, he said, I'll be lizard first. And then that's how I become a lizard here. So in the path of karma, unwittingly, if you do discrepancies, it's your responsibility. Good or bad. Krishna is saying, this is how The rules are laid out. Strictly follow them, you get the good results. You make mistakes, you'll get bad results. Vikarma is mainly bad, akarma is always good. So karma is a gray area. Is that helpful? Got it, kids? Okay. Most of the times. Again, vikarma, suppose here is the thing. I killed a person. Is it karma, akarma, or vikarma? That's why Krishna is saying, that's why he's saying the differentiation between karma, vikarma and akarma is difficult. Even the intelligent people fail to understand the ramifications. That's why when I talk of karma, it's better not to go back and try to discover your past. Don't do the audit trail, seeing what happened in the life. You can't get to it. I killed a man, that can be actually akarma, karma, or vikarma. I killed a man. This is being made by the statement of a soldier in the battle. Then it is karma. But if it is made by a person who is saying, I kill people and rob their household, it's vikarma. And sometimes, actually, when the Supreme Lord or his associates kill, it's a karma. There is no reactions. Right? Thank you. It's for those who haven't taken Bhakti Shastri, when we do Bhagavad Gita, we'll have a lot of fun. One entire class was spent on akarma, vikarma, and we didn't complete that class. All right. Good so far? Everybody doing okay? Or almost you are ready to... Yeah, you have the class. Please, you should go. You should go. Other questions, comments? All right. Let's do the verse number 3. Okay, kids, you have to also go. And kindly repeat. Asurya te loka andhena tamasavritah tamste pretyabhigachanti ye ke chatmahano janaha. Okay, Mate, who wouldn't get a chance to read? And that is Divyanam Prabhu's. Okay, that row. Okay.
The killer of the soul, whoever he may be, must enter into the planets known as the worlds of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance.
Thank you. Can you also do the first paragraph, please?
Human life is distinguished from animal life due to its heavy responsibilities. Those who are cognizant of these responsibilities and who work in that spirit are called suras, godly persons, and those who are neglectful of these responsibilities or who have no information of them are called asuras, demons. Throughout the universe, there are only these two types of human beings. In the Rig Veda, it is stated that the suras always aim at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Vishnu and act accordingly. Their ways are as illuminated as the path of the sun.
Thank you. So, the first verse says, who owns and controls everything? And what is your quota? The second one says that if you follow the path properly set by the scriptures, then one is not affected by karma, right? And the third one is those who neglect to follow the scriptures, and the destination is mentioned here. So human beings have that control over the destiny from the perspective of scriptures. If you follow scriptural injunctions, then your destiny is somewhat bright. But if not, then the destiny is dark. So that option that you have. Just like, think about it. If you drive a car on the road, then should you be aware of the rules of the road or not to drive safely? Yes or yes? If you think that red means go and green means stop. Oh, no, you have to drive left side of the road, not right. Then when the cop pulls over saying that, hello, I don't know. Well, that is the human form of life, is to actually know. And the cop pulls over and he says, like, I didn't know, that's why I did this. Then that is not an excuse for not getting ticket. Yes or yes? So similarly, human form of life means that we have some scriptural information and act accordingly. And in this, the whole purport, Srila Prabhupada actually says the difference between animals and the humans, and why human beings have much more responsibility than animals. So I'll just read the paragraph in the Bhagavad Gita, which is, I think, the second last paragraph. Little bit. In the Bhagavad Gita 6:41 through 43, it is stated that a man who enters upon the path of self-realization but does not complete the process, despite having sincerely tried to realize his relationship with God, is given a chance to appear in the family of Shuchi or Srimat. The word Shuchi indicates a spiritually advanced Brahmana, and Srimat indicates a Vaishya, a member of mercantile community. So the person who fails to achieve self-realization is given a better chance in his next life due to his sincere efforts in this life. If even a fallen candidate is given a chance to take, I'm waiting for Vendadari Prabhu, birth in a respectable and noble family, one can hardly imagine the status of one who has achieved success. Shall I read that again? If even a failed candidate is given a chance to take birth in a respectable and noble family, one can hardly imagine the success or the status of one who has achieved success. That's such a very encouraging thing. So what we are doing is absolutely amazing. This is the best thing you can do for your own self, right? By simply attempting to realize God, one is guaranteed birth in a wealthy or aristocratic family. But those who do not even make an attempt, who want to be covered by illusion, who are too materialistic and too attached to material enjoyment, must enter into the darkest regions of hell, as confirmed throughout the Vedic literature. Such materialistic asuras sometimes make a show of religion, but their ultimate aim is material prosperity. The Bhagavad Gita 17 and 18 rebukes such men by calling them Atma Sambhavita, meaning they are considered great only on the strength of deception and are empowered by votes of the ignorant and by their own material wealth. Such asuras devoid of self-realization and knowledge of Ishavasya, the Lord's universal proprietorship, are certain to enter into the darkest regions. Okay, the last paragraph, small paragraph, we can read, and then at least 4 out of 5 will be a good score to end. Who wants to read the last? Prabhu, you got a chance? Yes, Sandeep ji. Divyanam Prabhu, you didn't get, right? Okay, you go for it.
The conclusion is that as human beings, we are meant not simply for solving economic problems on a tottering platform, but for solving all the problems of the material life into which we have been placed by the laws of nature.
Thank you. Into which we have been placed by the laws of nature. As I mentioned in few other places, when you are born, you don't get a menu card. Where do you want to be born? How, in which wealthy family you want to be born? Whether fair skin or a dark skin, so on and so forth. We just take birth. That's it. Questions, comments? You have a question? Yes, Matthew.
Prabhuji, you gave a message that the third verse talks about the destination of those who say God is dead. You can enjoy life now.
So in 2008-9 time frame, there was a campaign on the buses in UK by an atheist who remains unnamed, saying that God probably doesn't exist. You can stop worrying and start enjoying life. Basically, such kind of people who are atheistic, they go into the darkest region of existence. God becomes a factor that is preventing me from enjoying. Just like, think about it. Sometimes if the parents are very, very strict, and if they and they go outside somewhere, leaving kids at home, the first realization of the kids is, oh, my parents are not there, I can enjoy life. I'm not being watched by anybody. So sometimes it can be dangerous because they might do things which, it's same thing, same mentality. But Krishna is watching. He is sitting inside me. He knows everything. He is pervading everything. Isha avasyam idam sarvam. That's another point. Isha avasyam. The word avasyam means covered. Completely covered. If the word avasyam is used to indicate that Krishna is completely owning and everything. It's not like, if Isha is the owner, how much part he's owner? Maybe he's the owner of 80% and then 20% is mine. No, he is completely covering, which means everything belongs to his. Shavasyam. So Krishna is there in my heart and he's pervading this whole material existence. Where is the question of not accepting his proprietorship? More questions? Is that okay, Mataji? Yeah, this was more like, I try to make it a little funny. So, because there are actually atheists who are writing books, who are actively propagated, saying that God doesn't exist, just enjoy life. So, and I was reading on that there. So they put it on all sorts of buses, in buses, billboards. You go VTA trains and buses, you'll find that they put it on that. And one of the bus drivers refused. He said, oh my God, this is dangerous. I'm not going to drive this bus which has this. Anyway, it's a nice story. Yes, you had some other point. She had your further question, or you done? Okay, Purnima.
In the same lines of doubt, like you said, like to get human form of life, it takes so much of pious credits to get into the human form of life out of that 8,400 million species. So then, why then we do go away from accepting Lord as a proprietorship, and why do we go away from the mode of service? Like so, just with the example that you just told.
So if I paraphrase your question is, why do we actually get separated from the Lord? This is essentially the question of his fall of Jiva. How did there is this controversy? Did we fall down from spiritual world? If that is yes, then how did we fall down? Why did we fall down? Why would we knowingly come to a jail? I mean, you will not, one morning you won't drive from your office, go to a jail, lock up yourself, and say, I'll be happy here. But if that is not the case, then the answer is, Srila Prabhupada writes in his books, 4 words. Anytime this question comes up, misuse of minute independence. Misuse of minute independence. Momi. Srila Prabhupada writes it. So we are jivas. We are atomic particles, small particles of the Lord. And the Lord is independent. We are also independent, but we are minutely independent, and He is infinitely independent. So you might think about it, right? There is the small baby, and that baby is completely at the mercy of the mother. Yes or yes? For the feeding purposes. Yet the baby says, I don't want to eat this. Did anybody experience that, or just me? Always. Just think about it. It's inconceivable, correct? I mean, hey, I am the master, or I am your maintainer. Without me, you will die. How dare you say no to me? But baby says no, and if mother is unconditional love, she will try to make baby happy by not taking it personally. You said no to me? Let me see. open your mouth. He'll never do that. So, the Lord will also not do that. If the Lord will try his best to say that stay with me, but how it happened, that nobody knows. When it happened, think about it, right? I'll give one more example. If you have heard it before, please forgive me. Anybody heard the cruise ship example before? Excellent. Cruise ship. Oh no! That my colleagues. No. Okay. So assume that you are in the cruise ship. You go in cruise. You are enjoying life, and you are having friends and probably family members, and then you had fun and festivities during the day, and you slept at night. In the middle of night, something happened to the ship, and the ship broke. You are in the ocean, middle of nowhere, clutching onto a lifeboat or a life vest or something like that, and you are hanging on to your dear life like this. And then the ship comes. The rescue ships are there. They are coming, and then somebody throws a lifeboat at you, saying, like, take this rope and grab on. Otherwise you will die. You'll say, no, I don't want to take onto the rope. Why? First, I want to know, why did the cruise ship crash? Which part of the software had the bug? Or which mechanical aspect was having some issues, or which nut bolt came out that I am here? They will say, take care, bye-bye. Did I come like 10 billion times, 10 billion times, 10 billion times to the power of infinity lifetimes ago? Or did I come 10 lifetimes ago? I don't know. And nobody can clearly answer. Brahma, okay, we are in which yuga? And then, how many yugas are there? Okay. How many, and then 4 yugas is called what yuga? Combined together, collection of 4 yugas is called? It's called a Divya Yuga. Thank you, Venudari Prabhu. And then, how many Divya Yugas are there in one day of Brahma? 1024 kind of thing. Yeah, 1000, almost. And then, in one day of Brahma, 14 Indras come and go. And then, how many years did Brahma live? And then, what is the duration of Brahma's night? Same, 1024 Kali Yugas. And how many years does Brahma live? 100 years. So, doing this, what is the lifespan of Brahma? 311 trillion 442 billion some years. And after that, and which year is Brahma right now, according to his calculations? He is just completed half century. Means 50 years. It seems 50 years first day, and we are in the noon time. Some noon time we are in day of Brahma. So yeah, he has another 50 years. You will say, I'll go to Brahma and I'll ask him, when did I come to this material world? Brahma might say, you came before I came. So I don't know. Is it a logical outcome or not? You don't know when we came. So when people come up with this question, how did I come here, Prabhu? I'll say, go back to Krishna and ask. Because he will give you the perfect answer. Nobody will know. In totality. People might know, might not know. But given the fact that we are in this dire human form of life, let's take this opportunity to become Krishna conscious. Make sense? All right. Sorry for the long answer. Sandeep ji, yes. Yes. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, generally we say that in this material life we should not run to solve problems one after another. But here in this last paragraph, it is written, the conclusion is that human beings are not meant to simply solving economic problems, but solving all problems of the material life, which itself is very difficult. Or we rise above this platform and go to a spiritual level. Is that the meaning?
Correct. Don't waste your time trying to patch up things, put band-aids, cure the cancer.
Is that, and on the other way, we also say that Palayanvadita is also not right. Palayanvadita is basically moving away from a problem. But anyway, the solution also exists when we move away from that level. So how can we prove that Palayanvadita, what is in that Palayanvadita is
So where
not
did you
good.
hear about Palayanvadita? I mean,
I don't know,
is there a book or something
in
like that? Or
some-
in
some-
general
in
term you are
some-
saying?
In some lecture, that's what I remember.
Sure. Everybody's clear on the Palayanvadita? Or, okay. Basically, Arjuna, what did he do in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Did he say, Arjuna, Krishna, I am ready to go and fight? Exactly. I mean, not facing the problems of life or escaping them. That is called Palayanvadita or escaping from. So it's an interesting question. Thank you for asking. At what point of time do we say that okay, I'll take head on and solve this problem? At other points we'll say that, I shouldn't do this, to kind of face these problems of life. Please understand that all the problems of human life are taken care when one is spiritually situated. Let me explain. If you are spiritually strong, the material problems either they diminish or you have the strength to face them. They might be coming, don't get me wrong. They will be coming, but you have strength to face them. And other things, you just will leave them. Okay, here is a thing. Here is a problem. It is just me. Like, you have a house and some people think, I need a bigger house. Having a bigger house, is that a problem that you have to solve? So, again, it's a question, if you have a spiritual perspective, then you will say, no, I don't need it. Or I need it only because I have a huge program at home and then I'm not able to serve devotees. Nothing for myself, but for Krishna. So, a spiritual perspective, but for a material perspective, big home means again sell this home, buy another home. So much of endeavor and hard work. So accepting problems for the sake of the Lord is not problems in the first place to begin with. But for the material perspective, if you want to do it, then just be a Palayanvad. Yeah, I don't want a bigger house. Thank you very much. Well left. You see the perspective where I'm coming from. So if Krishna is in center, I am ready to take on any problem and I'll be victorious. For me, I don't want things. Everything for Krishna, nothing for me. If that is the attitude, then really problems won't be problems. And even if the problems are impossible, from Krishna's perspective, Krishna will still fulfill. Srila Prabhupada, when he came really to the West, he had nothing. But he did it for Krishna, and look now, what is the miracle he achieved. So, is that helpful? Yeah. Palayanvad for my own problems, but for Krishna, I'm going to do everything. And that can include my own problems if they are related to Krishna, just like a bigger house for the sake of, serving Krishna. Is that okay?
Prabhu, what I understand is basically Palayanvadita is good. We can run away with problems or the problems in case it helps in serving Krishna or my Krishna consciousness. And in case it doesn't help, it's better to move out is also okay.
Correct. Srila Prabhupada actually was walking in the park in Colorado, Denver, with his disciples. And then his disciples said, you guys are not working. You guys just are chanting Hare Krishna all day long. You're running away from the problems of society. Prabhupada said, we are running away from their problems. Because the problems you are taking on are imagined problems. Imagine, you are having a dream that you want a bigger house, going with a bigger house theme. And then in the house, you belabor to build a big house. You run here and there. You are having dreams of going to a mortgage officer and then running this, that. Then the house is built by the time you woke up. And you tell your wife, I have built a big house. She'll be like, point is that problem, that anxiety you took in your dream was good enough, but it was completely irrelevant. And a Palayanvad would have been a better thing rather than taking on that. You're getting the idea? Okay, thank you. Yes, Sirisha.
Prabhuji, in the second paragraph, Prabhupada wrote about killer of the soul, Atma. Can you please explain that?
Sure. And then I think, which is the verse? Venudari Prabhu? Anybody remembers? Nirvritya tarshe rupagiyamana bhavaushada chrotra manobhirama. 10th canto, first chapter. Bhavaushada chrotra manobhiramat kauttama shloka gunanuvadat puman virajyeta vinapashugnat. Oh, I have the shloka book. Ha ha ha. 10th canto, let's pull it up. Should be there. 10:1:4. 10:1:4. Kindly, it's a beautiful verse. Kindly repeat after me. Nivrityatarshairupagiyamanaad bhavaushadachotramanobhiramaad kauttamaślokagunānuvádaad puman virajyeta vinapashugnā. Nivrityatarshairupagiyamanaad bhavaushadachotramanobhiramaad kauttamaślokagunānuvádaad puman virajyeta vinapashugnā. Translation. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system, that is, it is conveyed from the spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? Purport, please. Come down a little bit. Venudari Prabhu. Down. Down still, please. Still. Okay, you go up, a little bit up. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita and the descriptions of Srimad Bhagavatam are so pleasing that almost anyone suffering from the threefold miseries of material existence will desire to hear the glories of the Lord from these two books and thus benefit on the path of liberation. Two classes of men, however, will never be interested in hearing the message of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Those who are determined to commit suicide and those determined to kill cows and other animals for the satisfaction of their own tongues. Although such persons may make a show of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam at a Bhagavat Saptah, this is but another creation of karmis who cannot derive any benefit from such a performance. The word Pashugnath is important in this connection. Pashugna means butcher. Persons fond of performing ritualistic ceremonies for elevation to the higher planetary systems must offer sacrifices, yajna, by killing animals. Lord Buddhadev therefore rejected the authority of the Vedas because his mission was to stop animal sacrifices which are recommended in the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Let's skip the Sanskrit. Even though animal sacrifices are sanctioned in the Vedic ceremonies, men who kill animals for such ceremonies are considered butchers. Butchers cannot be interested in Krishna consciousness, for they are already materially allured. Their only interest lies in developing comforts for their temporary bodies. Skip, please. Again, a little bit more down. Little bit down, please. More. More. Okay. Atmaha. It's not there. Okay. Right. So this is one verse. If you want to go deeper into to the killer of the person or killer of the soul, the killer of the soul means that I am willfully trying to suppress, destroy, and or not care about my soul. I am not caring about spiritual progress. I really don't care about me. First of all, I am controlled by my mind. I think I am that mind. And my mind says, forget all this nonsense. This all spiritual life and all that is bogus, is imaginary. You live only once. Just enjoy life. What are you doing with all this stuff? Who has seen God? Who has seen soul? What happens after death? Why are you worried? Just forget all. So that mind, when it gets influenced like that, it just says, the soul within is kind of completely suppressed and the mind overtakes it. And then that kind of person who is so addicted to sense gratification at any cost, no matter what, he becomes the killer of his own soul. That is called Atmaha. Or a person who has no mercy and wantonly kills others. The reason why butcher is specifically mentioned is because the butcher sees only, he is torturing the animals with no mercy for their soul. And so by that stretch of imagination, it's also there. The only exception in the entire of scriptures with the butchers, with a caveat, is in Mahabharata. There is a story of Dharma Vyada, but that's a different story. So, is that helpful? Okay. How many did we complete? 3 or 4? Okay. Do you want to take a break? And or you know what? We'll do it in the next class. We might have to. We'll have to have extra classes in the end, or we might have to do something. What do you think? Or you want to take a break and come back? Let's do one more verse at least. There is a buffer of 3 to 4. So, okay, 5-minute break. At least we'll do one more verse, and then we can go. Is that okay? All right. Thank you so much. I will see on 305 or 307. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Vachu. Srivatsa. Sorry. I've known you since year 2. So, anyways, mantra 4, please. So the next two mantras, they talk about Krishna and how his inconceivable nature is. So kindly repeat after me. Ane jadekam manaso javiyo naina deva apnuvan purvamarsha tadhavatonya tishta tasmin apomatarishva dadati. So who is continuing the back? Okay, Rajarap. Who didn't get a chance to read? Yeah, go ahead. Sandeep.
Although fixed in his abode, the personality of Godhead is swifter than the mind and can overcome all other running. The powerful demigods cannot approach him. Although in one place he controls those who supply the air and rain, he surpasses all in excellence.
Thank you. Please do the first paragraph.
Purport.
First paragraph. Through the mental
Though mental speculations, even the greatest philosopher cannot know the Supreme Lord, who is the absolute personality of Godhead. He can be known by his devotees through his mercy. In the Brahma Samhita 534, it is stated that even if a non-devotee philosopher travels through space at the speed of the wind or the mind for the hundreds of millions of years, he will still find that the absolute truth is far, far away from him. The Brahma Samhita 537 further describes that the absolute personality of Godhead has his transcendental abode known as Goloka, where he remains engages in his pastimes, yet by his inconceivable potencies, he can simultaneously reach every part of his creative energy. In the Vishnu Purana, his potencies are compared to the heat and light that emanate from a fire. Although situated in one place, a fire can distribute its light and heat for some distance. Similarly, the absolute personality of Godhead, although fixed in his transcendental abode, can diffuse his different energies everywhere.
Thank you. So the verse of Vishnu Purana is there for those who want to take a look. It's on page 382 of the Shloka book. It is said, Ekadesha stitasyagner jyotsna vistarini yatha parasya brahmana shaktis tadedam akhilam jagat. Just as the illumination of a fire, which is situated in one place, is spread all over, the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman, are spread all over the universe. So, in this example, the fire is a very apt example. The fire is situated at one place, but the heat and light is dissipated all over the place of the influence. Just like you can see the light there, there are so many lights, of course, but if there is one light, the whole room is lit up. In the same way, Krishna can be situated in his spiritual abode, yet direct the activities of material existence. Another example. So man goes to office and he hires contractors to come and work at his home. Yes or yes? Sometimes does that happen? Yeah. So when the man is at office, there is energy of his, or in this case, the money of his, as work at home, trying to do the stuff, whatever is needed at the home, for the benefit of that particular person when he comes back from home. So you can see that if a common man can employ his energies while being at different locations, then what to speak of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who has infinite energies. And so that is what is mentioned here. Dare we do, we'll try to see as much as we can. 534, anybody remembers that verse? Pantastu Koti Shatavatsara is the 534 verse. So you want to belt out that verse? Okay, 534. Vinodari Prabhu. Brahma Samhita. Kindly repeat after me. Pantastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo Vayorathapi Manaso Munipungavanam Syopyasti Yat Prapadasimnya Vichintya Tattve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Okay, Srivatsa, please read the translation.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord. Only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayam by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of millions of years.
Thank you. So we'll read one more paragraph. It's really nice paragraph by Srila Prabhupada in that particular thing, starting with every part. Okay, who didn't get a chance to read? All right.
Every part and parcel of the complete whole is endowed with some particular energy to act according to the Lord's will. When the part and parcel living entity forgets his particular activities under the Lord's will, he is considered to be in Maya, illusion. Thus, from the very beginning, Sri Ishopanishad warns us to be very careful to play the part designated for us by the Lord. This does not mean that the individual soul has no initiative of his own. Because he is part and parcel of the Lord, he must partake of the initiative of the Lord as well. When a person properly utilizes his initiative or active nature with intelligence, understanding that everything is the Lord's potency, he can revive his original consciousness, which was lost due to association with Maya, the external energy.
So here, this can be a little confusing. So one should play the part that was designated by the Lord. Now the question might come, what is my part that is designated by the Lord? Right? So it can be two things. One thing is in the conditioned state and one thing is in the liberated state. In the conditioned state, the designated part is that we follow according to, our varnashrama tendencies. I will not say system because that system doesn't exist. At least, you have certain propensities that you can use to serve the Lord. For example, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, you just do your own swadharma and don't try to kind of take on others' swadharma. So there is a natural progression like that in the material life. Of course, in the liberated state, then we get into the rasa tattva, like we share one of the 5 rasas with the Lord, and then that's the way we are designated. But the point here is, under all circumstances, Krishna has a specific plan for us. And the other aspect is that when approaches Krishna through the spiritual master, even that part is kind of a little bit more clearly delineated also. So the other thing in the paragraph is that we have our own initiative. Usually, God is great, every time is about, okay, Krishna, 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 but I'm just a robot. Whatever Krishna wants me to do, whenever he wants me to go to temple, I'll go. Whenever he wants me to chant, I'll do it. Whenever he wants me to get liberated, I'll get liberated. Why worry so much about it? But we have our own initiative. And that initiative can be actually dovetail with the service of the Lord. And it is not something that we are pre-programmed robots. That we have no volition absolutely of whatsoever. If that is the case, think about it, right? If we have no initiative, then why would Krishna waste his time telling instructions of Bhagavad Gita? Don't follow it because you are already programmed. It's meaningless for me to tell Bhagavad Gita, and it's meaningless for you to act because everything is pre-programmed. Why waste your time and my time? But the fact that Krishna gave those instructions and he said, you do this, which means there is an initiative on our part to accept Krishna's instructions and then act upon it. Whether I choose it or not is my own initiative. Right? Does that make sense? So this is a nice thing that Srila Prabhupada mentions in this purport, that we have our own initiative. Of course, our initiative and the independence will be very minute. We are conditioned by material nature. So it might seem that it's too hard. I've been trying to give up a particular habit for so many years and it seems impossible. Maybe it's truly, I'm programmed. But no, the fact of the matter is, it may be hard and we may have to put in effort, but nevertheless, that initiative is something that Krishna will never take away from us. After speaking 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Krishna says to Arjuna, I have told you what I have told you. Now it's up to you to act. He doesn't say, dude, you're letting me down. You have to now. There's no other way. He never says that. So that initiative, that independence, Krishna will always respect, but it is up to us to say, you know what, no, I want to do that, Krishna. And Krishna will reward accordingly. Yathamam prapadyante. So there is that constant initiative that is there, but that initiative will come only with awareness, with some scriptural knowledge. Otherwise, there is no question of initiative. It's easy because human nature is the path of least resistance. Whatever makes me work will go through. And this is hard. Any questions? Akrunath Prabhu, thank you for joining us. Yeah. Yes, Sandeep.
Prabhu, in this verse, it indirectly says that the Lord is the supreme controller. So just sometimes things come to my mind how he controls. So my theory, which I thought, is basically because God is in everyone, he is sitting in everyone as super soul. So indirectly he is there everywhere. It is like a camera which is monitoring everyone. So indirectly he is there in everyone and he is controlling. Is that conception the right conception?
So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suhrut Prabha Pralayasthanam Bijanam Nidanam Bijam Avyayam. He says, I am Gati, I am Bharta, I am Prabhu, and I am Sakshi. So based on how you see Krishna, Krishna will act accordingly. He is sitting in everyone's heart doesn't mean he is controlling. There is difference between controlling and watching. For the conditioned soul who is completely against Krishna consciousness or has no idea of Krishna, Krishna is just watching. He is not interfering with your independence. But to the extent you surrender, then he'll start controlling. And if you are a pure devotee, he will control you 100%. If you are somewhere in between, he will control to the extent that you surrendered onto him. Ye yathamam prapadyante. To that extent, he will control. Is that making sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But how he is controlling? That's the
how he is controlling is that he will control according to the desire that I want to serve him. For example, Madhavendra Puri, he was an exalted, elevated soul. So he excavated Gopal and installed him on top of Govardhan, and he said, please, I've been in this earth for so many thousands of years. I'm burning all over. Now you go and get me some sandalwood. He directly spoke because he was on that level. Sometimes he doesn't speak. Sometimes, think about it, 9/11. How many people said, oh, I just couldn't go because I had a fever. I missed a train. My child was sick. How does he control? Let's not get too much into it because you cannot know what is Krishna's mind. If you look up at Bhagavatam, yes, Akunath Prabhu had something to say, please.
So in the 13th chapter, there's the verse Upadrashtanu Mantacha, and it says that the super soul is, Krishna is describing the super soul that he's overseeing everything, he's witnessing everything, and he's also permitting everything. And in the 18th chapter, when the 5 factors of action are discussed, the most important factor is the Daiva factor, which is that without the permission of the super soul, something can't happen. So you can imagine that there are so many different individual souls doing everything throughout the universe. And Krishna, mostly just by supervising his material energy, is arranging that everything is working so that people are getting exactly the results of their karma, people are getting exactly the results of, and there's no, in other words, he's like the traffic cop that keeps everything going and everything running correctly. But then, of course, for those who actually turn directly to Krishna and develop a personal relationship with him as Bhagavan, then he takes a different stance. He's not just witnessing, he becomes an active principle in your life. And I wanted to comment on this question about, we were saying, what is our duty? What are we supposed to do according to the Lord's will? And I wanted to say that, in past ages, the society would be engaged in doing sacrifices. And in this age, the sacrifice is the Sankirtan. And that we, of course we have our duty based on our age and our gender and our, our education and training and profession, whatever. But if we can all line ourselves up somehow with this Lord Chaitanya's movement, and Srila Prabhupada established this international society for Krishna consciousness with many opportunities for different devotees to work in coordination with one another. That's sort of the idea of Varnashram, is that there's different limbs of the body and things, and they all work in harmony. Just like I remember one Japanese movie where in the medieval times they were having a war, and the infantry did one thing, and the artillery did one thing, and the archers did one thing, and they were all coordinated like that. So we can find some particular kind of service. I mean, we all have to especially work on hearing the holy name, seeing the deities, feeling, serving and remembering Krishna and reading Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam. But if we can find ourselves some place to do this work that Srila Prabhupada had given us to spread Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan, that will be our spiritual occupation, like that.
Thank you. Thank you, Karunatru. And the last, we'll stop here after this last paragraph. I think I'll just read that. All power is obtained from the Lord, therefore each particular power must be utilized to execute the will of the Lord and not otherwise. The Lord can be known by one who has adopted such a submissive service attitude. Perfect knowledge means knowing the Lord in all his features, knowing his potencies, and know how these potencies work by his will. These matters are described by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all Upanishads, as you just mentioned Bhagavad Gita. So I think we are one verse short, but it's okay. We can just take a break right now. And then thank you so much for so patiently being here on this Diwali day. And then we will meet in 2 weeks' time, and then we will start from the verse number 5, which further describes Krishna's inconceivable potencies or the contradictory potencies, and we can discuss a little more. Is that okay? Thank you so much. Yeah. So, anybody last questions?
How do we know that we are not imposing our will personal as the will of the Lord? Like, how can we be sure that my personal will, I'm not giving it a name of a will of the Lord and doing that?
The God wanted me to do this.
Yes, and that's why it's just rationalizing. It might be for my sense gratification, might be for my false ego, might be for my other things.
Well, Srila Prabhupada, I think one of his disciples told Srila Prabhupada that, you came in my dream and asked me to consume some intoxicating substances. And Srila Prabhupada said, that's not me, but Maya speaking. So one thing is, usually if you have, a guru, sadhu and shastra is a good calibration to kind of say that whether it is actually, Krishna wanting me to do this, or is it just my own idea, independent of his. So usually if there is that kind of calibration, and one approaches one spiritual master or a spiritual mentor, even if the spiritual master is not there, there are spiritual mentors who can help you kind of understand in the right perspective, whom you trust obviously and have faith, and who are your only well-wishers, or who only wish well for you in your spiritual life. Then you can definitely find that calibration and then make them work. Is that okay? But you're right, it's like, a drunk may be falling into gutter after drinking too much. This is God's will that I'm lying here. Anyways, thank you so much. Yes, Sirisha Mataji. Yeah, one last, okay.
When Krishna says, I am the cause of all causes, does this mean that our falling into this material world is his desire?
We did discuss this earlier. In one sense, yes, he is the ultimate cause. But the idea there is, if Krishna says, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram, Suhridam sarva bhutanam jnatva mam shantirichati. He is the Suhridam, means he is the well-wisher of all the living entities. So why would he malevolently take us from the spiritual world as dunkas into the material world? And if that is the case, then how can he be called a well-wisher? No mother would actually take a child and put into like a dark dungeon and keep them trapped forever. It's abhorrent, just from a motherly perspective, what to speak of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So while he is the cause, to say that we had no part to play and we were innocent victims and somehow he put in there is incorrect, because that goes against his own words. So there could have been some things of our own initiative. Again, 4 letters. Mommy, exactly. Misuse of minute independence. And then we are here. The reality is that I am here in the material world. Now, how I came is a whole other topic. Is that okay?
Mataji is saying thank you, Shivas Pandit Prabhu. It's a very nice class today.
Thank
Somebody else also, Kamala Mataji, thank you for the class.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Ankur Prabhu had sent some questions from the invocation part.
Okay.
Is it okay to ask now?
Yeah.
So Prabhupada writes in the purport, if he was formless or if he were less than his creation in any other way, he could not be complete. Prabhupada is establishing form of the Param Satya based on the assumption that completeness implies form. On the contrary, Param Satya does not have envy. Still, that does not affect completeness. How is form a characteristic property of completeness, but envy is not? Did you get the question?
If I understand the question right, form denotes completeness, but he doesn't have envy. And I see. I get it. I get it.
Without form, he can't be complete, which is what Prabhupada is arguing. But Krishna doesn't have envy, but that doesn't make him incomplete.
So, Krishna is the source of all attributes, both positive and negative. But his acts are absolute and transcendental. For example, stealing butter or, dancing with the gopis. It may seem kind of, something that's not befitting or ethical in terms of the society considerations, but those acts of the Supreme Lord are the highest, and they are sung since time immemorial, and they will be sung forever because of he performing those kinds of acts. So envy, I'm just thinking, is there a place where Krishna was envious? The closest, not envious, but the closest it comes to my mind where Krishna did was the Shamantaka jewel, where he was saying that I need that jewel and somehow he didn't get it. Now, why would Krishna need a Shamantaka jewel when he can create unlimited number of Shamantaka jewels right then and there? But then somehow he desired it, and then it still is glorious. You get the point? Yeah, so Krishna has complete attributes, but sometimes they are revealed in ways that you may not be apparent, but it's transcendental. Every act of his is transcendental. So, because the reason I say this is, nothing will exist in anywhere if it is not present in Krishna. If everything is there in this world is just a reflection of what is there with Krishna, but it is perverted in this material world, it is transcendental in spiritual world.
Is it like lust is perversion of love? Is it
exactly
perversion of competitive spirit?
Exactly. Sometimes Krishna would fight with his friends, in Vrindavan, right? When he was a cowherd boy, there was, without envy, there is no competition, yes or yes. So there was that kind of competitive spirit among the cowherd boys, but that does mean, and Krishna was, and does that mean he was envious? So it is transcendental pastime. Is that okay?
Yes, another question. So he has 3. Prabhupada writes, the 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation are arranged to produce everything necessary for the maintenance and sustenance of this universe. No other unit in the universe need to make an extraneous effort to try to maintain the universe. So what is the meaning of extraneous effort? Living beings, including devatas, perform their respective duties. Are those duties extraneous efforts? Without performing those duties, can the world sustain and maintain itself?
So when we talk of completeness, the impression is somehow this earth is complete with no direction or no input from other sources. Well, that is not what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in the 3rd chapters, where he says that, in the beginning I created men and demigods, and by worshipping demigods, men will get all the necessary ingredients of our prosperity. So that whole universe is complete in of itself. Right now, Krishna is saying, I created men, I created demigods. You do this, you'll be fine. It's on a cruise control. You are running on your own. You don't need interference from me. So I completed that complete unit. But if you don't do that, then it's a problem. Is that okay? Because Krishna, though he created, he's not, for those who are familiar, if you create something, then you have to babysit it. Yes or yes? If you're an owner of a property and you give it out for rent, technically it belongs to you, but it's, okay, Venkatesh is smiling, he knows what a little bit I'm talking about. But there are so many issues with that you have to be personally involved. You cannot be completely detached. But Krishna is like, he created this universe and he never is getting involved. So you do it. And that is his completeness.
So the last question. Prabhupada writes, the human form of life is a complete manifestation of the consciousness of the living being, and it is obtained after evolving through 8,400,000 species of life in the cycle of birth and death. Do devatas like Ganesha, Varuna, Indra, etc. belong to one of the 8.4 million species?
Yeah. Yes. 8,400,000 species includes demigods, No. Right? Because there is Jalajana Valakshani. We'll
After 40,000 human.
Yeah, but I don't think demigods come into that.
Demigods.
No. Demigods they are beyond that. This is different. But it's a good question though. I'll double check. I don't know if that's a good question. Does the 40,000 include demigods? I have to come back with
I have heard, but you can 400,000.
Species. Demigods, I have to come back to you. I don't remember reading anywhere in Prabhupada's books. That's a good point though. Yeah. Thank you for the question. The short answer, I don't know. I'll come back to you. Because I don't remember. Do you remember Akranath Prabhu anywhere written that includes?
So when we say 400,
yeah, Mike, please.
Well, I also don't know the answer. In fact, we were just talking about this in Berkeley when Vaisheshika was giving class. And
I see.
What is the 400,000 species of humans? And we were saying, does that include Gandharvas and
Siddhas, Yakshas, Charanas.
Yeah, Charanas, Vyadhadaras, and
Vasus and all that. Yeah.
All those different kinds of celestial beings. But then if so, does it, Manu is the father of all humans, right? But then there are other demigods, and whether they're part of the human species, because they don't seem to be included in the list of so many aquatics and so many birds and so many insects and whatever. So that answer is, that's a good question, and
yeah, to be researched. TBR. All right. Thank you. All right. I think we are all waiting for the class by Akranath Prabhu, so 10 more minutes. I'll thank. No. We have been sitting here from 1 o'clock. It's like we are supposed to have a 2-hour class, but I think average I'm not surprised. Usually 3 hours is a good time, but it depends on the tremendous amount of patience from. So thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa. For those who don't have Sri Ishopanishad, please take.